Bitcoin's so close to $1 trillion market cap. Ethereum approaching $2,000. Cardano approaching $1 and its all-time high. Litecoin almost halfway to its own all-time high. What in the world does crypto, do these altcoins, does Bitcoin have in store for us in the short term? Yo, what's up, everybody? Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way in. Appreciate you cruising by Crypto Capital Venture. So, I don't know, I was just sitting here and I'm, kind of looking at all of the charts, Bitcoin. These are kind of the ones that I've been watching lately. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. You all know about Cardano. And Litecoin, because, the Litecoin charts, they're making the turn for it. If you're a Litecoin holder, I think you have some things to be excited about. So I want to just talk about all of these things because right now, some really key areas across all of these charts are pretty much being tested. And so, you can just see right here on the hourly chart for Bitcoin, if I zoom in here, just look at this hourly candle wicking to this trend line. One thing I want to note before we even talk about this stuff is this. Bitcoin whales keep accumulating as Bitcoin price remains above $50,000. Everybody, I just want to say we're in a bull market. We just entered the bull market doors just in November. This thing just started, and all of the bullishness, all of the hype that you see in the headlines and news, this is at the beginning of the bull market, and huge big money just now beginning to accumulate Bitcoin. So $3,000 wasn't the starting point, right? That was the bottom of the bear market. The starting point is $50,000. And this thing is just getting started. And so this article talking about some crazy stats. There are now more than 94,000 Bitcoin addresses holding at least $1 million worth of Bitcoin. The steep increase in mid-December marks the point when Bitcoin crossed $20,000, making all early miner addresses millionaire addresses. While the number of Bitcoin whales has increased, partly because the price of cryptocurrency has been surging, whales have also been accumulating Bitcoin. As research from data analytics platform WhaleMap has spotted that addresses holding between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin, between $41 million and $500 million, have been growing. These huge wallets, these whales are growing, everyone. The trend is opposed to what we've seen in previous bull cycles in which these large addresses decreased. So you would think addresses would be decreasing if we're reaching a top. And everybody, they're not. It is the opposite. And here's a tweet. Interesting macro cycle. Number of addresses holding between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin has been decreasing during the last bull run, but this time it's only picking up to speed, and you can kind of get a sense from these pictures that they posted here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not because I'm so zoomed in on the chart, on this chart, but you can see this. So long story short, whales accumulating at $50,000 does not seem to be slowing down. So here we are on an hourly chart testing a trend line. So we know what's going on here. This is the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, and we've just been kind of cruising up. Symmetrical triangle 2, this one right here, has been hit. If we actually go, I have another chart open here. This is a daily chart. If we look at the daily chart, this is what it looks like. This is this triangle that we were tracking. This was something we were tracking in January. We got the breakout. That target hit. Done. Now, we have other things happening on the 6-hour chart. If we zoom back in, the $1 trillion market cap, just so close for Bitcoin. And it's just funny. What I just imagine in my mind as we sit here 5% away from $1 trillion market cap. It's just a number, but we know there's going to be some cool headlines. I just picture Bitcoin just dipping, falling into new consolidation and making us wait like another month or two before it even happens. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But here we are. I want to just talk about what's happening in the short term because I think that's what everybody's watching right now. We're testing the apex of this rising wedge that we've been tracking on this YouTube channel. And we have support there. That's our support area. Throwbacks to the trend lines are so commonplace. What we ultimately want to see is that last swing low before this previous run up. We want to chart a Fibonacci retracement, the true support, and we obviously want to see full support all up in here in this apex of this rising wedge, right down to $50,000. We want to see support. We don't want that to fail, but the ultimate support level that we want to watch for Bitcoin could potentially be this 618 down here around $49,600 to around $48,800. That's kind of this, emergency support area for Bitcoin in the short term. Give you a little context what that might look like. We're looking at a dip of like 3 to 5%. It's not even that big of a dip. It can happen quick. But what will be interesting, every other dip that we've seen in recent months, how quick will the dip be bought up? That's what I'd be watching for. And I mean, I've just been watching that anyway. When we get just these very mini consolidations, it's always interesting to see these hourly candles get pushed right back up. And so when we're watching the hourly charts, and you can see this with other altcoins as well, you kind of get this quick dip. Like here was the dip to 50,700 and then just a bounce. And then we want to see what the next hour looks like, which actually is going to open soon. Will it cruise up, or are we going to start testing this trend line right here? Things are going to get a little dicey for Bitcoin. And we may see this $50,000 area, tested very soon. But ultimately, to the upside, we got that $55,000, $56,000 breakout target out of this rising wedge that we're waiting for. It is 100% in play. Actually, I guess it's around $56,000, $57,000 breakout target to the upside for that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't do this a lot on these live streams, is I want to talk about a few altcoins, just because there's some kind of big things happening with these ones. Ethereum, just been watching nonstop. Look at Ethereum just in this upward motion, this crazy. There's really kind of a couple, depending on what time frame you're on, a couple rising wedges. So shorter time frame, especially on an hourly, this is a 6 hour. You can kind of chart this rising wedge, which is perfectly confluent with a longer term rising wedge. Two breakout targets. Can expect some consolidation and resistance right here around 25,000 if we hit this target for Ethereum. Potential throwback if Ethereum is going to hit that target, throwback to this trend line, similar to what Bitcoin is kind of doing right now on a smaller scale. And then we have this $2,800, $2,900 target, which is this longer term rising wedge for Ethereum. This is kind of just very realistic if we're looking at Ethereum and we see cryptos get into that next leg up, that next stage, that next phase, the bullish phase. Bitcoin's breaking $1 trillion, and Cardano on its way to $1, through $1. I want to zoom in. This is a 6 hour. I want to zoom in on the hourly chart for Cardano. So let's zoom in real quick, because I did a quick little video live stream on Twitter earlier. But essentially, what I was watching for is kind of this, and you can just see it, this inverse head and shoulders on Cardano, neckline, and we talked about earlier 87-cent support area for Cardano, and it just wicked down into that area. The support held. It's a crazy hourly. You see right here, what I will be watching going into tonight is, will support continue to hold for Cardano? Again, $1.05 easily breakout target from this breakout, and I can just chart this real quick. It's really not charted very nicely, but we had this breakout. This was yesterday, $1.05 to $1.10 breakout target. We're again getting a revisit to that neckline for Cardano. So all of these cryptos right now in this hourly, getting all of these revisits to these key areas. I want to look at Litecoin. Litecoin right now. So there's a lot of Litecoin people, a lot of Litecoin holders out there that I know are on Twitter, on YouTube. So with where Litecoin is right now, 225, right? Just to chart this, at least on this chart, and this is, what is this, Bitfinex. Litecoin is around, 60 to 65% away from its all-time high. And it's at a really interesting area, because if we kind of chart this last swing high, and this was the summer of June, I guess 2019, to that previous swing low in March, Litecoin had a really interesting area, testing this 1618 line on a macro chart. So really doesn't surprise me that right now Litecoin is consolidating sideways almost perfectly at the 1618 area. But I want to note the other area that it is consolidating at, which also doesn't surprise me, is the symmetrical triangle. I think I've had charted for a while that Litecoin broke out of, perfectly at the apex here of the symmetrical triangle and hit its target pretty much in that $210 to $220 area. So two really confluent resistant areas for Litecoin right now as it's trading sideways. So in a dip environment, and I just want to throw this out there, dip environment, because they happen. What we'd be watching for Litecoin is that previous swing low to, if this was a current swing high, we'd be looking for support. And I know if you're holding Litecoin out there, you don't want to hear Litecoin going back below 200, but this is just that extreme dip environment. This is where people will probably be accumulating a ton of Litecoin. 165 down to 145. It's 100% in play, but it's in an environment where cryptos would be tanking, and I just don't see them happening as much anymore, right? We're talking about a 25% dip or so to the downside. So on a midterm or long-term chart, what that would look like is Litecoin setting up and kind of making you wait a little bit longer for that all-time high. So a huge dip and then potential consolidation, maybe a symmetrical triangle, and then really the breakout target for something like that would pretty much, potentially bring Litecoin right through its previous all-time high. So that's a very speculative setup, but long story short, right now, what Litecoin is doing is consolidating right now at this 1618 line and the breakout target of this symmetrical triangle all the way back here. So Litecoin looking good, on pace, on its way to all-time highs. I really think it's going to get there, 60% or so move from its all-time high. What's funny is Cardano, if we zoom out here, we're on an hourly. Cardano, $1.33, we're looking at, I think, right around the same, 47% away from all-time highs. What's really interesting about this, Ethereum already broke its all-time high. Ethereum's putting in a new all-time high almost every hour right now. And so I'm truly 100% anticipating coins like Litecoin, coins like Cardano, they're going to break their all-time highs. And they're going to do exactly what Ethereum is doing right now, not only breaking their all-time highs, but they're going to be just putting in new all-time highs. Kind of this price discovery, forming these crazy patterns like you see here on Ethereum. Cardano forming some type of crazy pattern leading into $1.50, $1.75. Litecoin finding some new crazy pattern, leading into like the $600, $700 area, wondering if there's going to be support at 600. That type of environment, I feel like, is just around the corner for a lot of these cryptos, a lot of these altcoins, and I'm very much just anticipating that. This is the long story short. This was a tweet. Looks as if Bitcoin is eating gold. While the cryptocurrency hit fresh all-time highs, greater than 51,000, gold has dropped less than $1,800. So I'm trying to zoom out again on a fundamental level, which is to say why Bitcoin is beating gold as a store of value in one chart. And that's what's happening, everybody. Bitcoin, this is just starting. The world is just catching on. What's happening now, I thought would happen in the next bull market, in the next cycle. I'm very much surprised that what has been happening lately is happening right now. The gold Bitcoin ratio is at an all-time low, meaning that gold's price relative to Bitcoin is at its lowest point since Bitcoin was created. So Bitcoin's eating into gold. It's eating into other things. And then you have things like this. You know this was from yesterday. BlackRock admits the firm dabbles in Bitcoin. Grayscale posted this today. Grayscale is no longer just fielding interest from family offices and hedge funds. Endowments and pension funds are also looking to build cryptocurrency exposure. And then in speaking to that, a recent interview, CEO Michael Sonnenschein told me that Grayscale is no longer just fielding interest from family offices and hedge funds. In an era where central banks are printing a seemingly endless stream of money, investors are drawn to the verifiable scarcity of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is designed so the total number of coins that will ever be issued is 21 million, bolstering the case for those who view it as digital gold. So everybody, I know you all know this. But I'm telling you, this is just starting. Everything you see here, the headlines are actually, I think I put it in drafts. I had a tweet I created, but I'm just kind of like, are we kind of dreaming? And I'm not trying to put out this euphoria type of feeling, but I actually don't believe how much money is flowing to Bitcoin right now, and some of these headlines that we're seeing. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but maybe that's because I was kind of setting up as anticipating for maybe next cycle, another few years where these huge institutions, banks, companies, corporations start getting on board. I didn't think it would happen right now. I really didn't. And that's kind of why yesterday I did a video adjusting my all-time high for Bitcoin this cycle, because there's just not enough Bitcoin for all this money that's coming in. And that's just the bottom line. So how's everybody doing anyway, as we kind of like consolidate? I go live at the worst times. I need to go live during a pump. Hit that like button, everybody. Pump up this live stream. 296 likes, 1,400 people. Come on. How's everybody doing? Digibyte, $1 to $3 targets. Digibyte. I think isn't Digibyte down a little bit? No. Why does this chart say it's down? Oh, this is a terrible chart. So Digibyte holders out there. Look at Digibyte making moves, everybody. Gold is dumping. I guess people buy Bitcoin for it. Insane. Eye of the Beholder says, I feel the same way, man. And I'm telling you, I mean, I think even the biggest names in crypto are surprised what is going on in crypto right now. DeFi and Polkadot will be the next big thing. DeFi has been taking off. I got to sit here one day and just take all of your altcoins you're throwing out there and just do some TA for you guys. In terms of Bitcoin, I just saw somebody just asking about it. I know we have some new people in here just covering Bitcoin once again. Why not just see what the charts are doing anyway? Let me go back to the hourly. Let me cruise up here. Check this out. That's Bitcoin long chart. So here's Bitcoin on the hourly chart. You know what? Let's just go back to the 6 hour. It's fine. So we're having a move essentially to this upper trend line of this rising wedge we've been tracking. And I just want to say this, like, if you look at the 6 hour chart, we're always in these little consolidation areas. Here's a 6 hour candle right here. I mean, I'm sure this candle, a total of 5% dip in the 6 hour time frame, people probably, a little worried. And right now, this candle wicked down to 50,600 or so. And we're testing a really key area, but I wouldn't get worried until we're testing this last swing low from the lower trend line to the swing high, and we're testing a Fibonacci support area down here, 49,600 to 48,800. Testing, and I'm trying to recap Bitcoin charts here, testing apex of rising wedges, symmetrical triangles, whatever pattern. To me, that's what I like to see. So Bitcoin has done that. We broke out yesterday of the trend line. Right now we're revisiting and we're testing support. And this is kind of where I really, look for confirmations. And we're in it right now. We're watching it right now. There's 2.5 hours left on the 6 hour chart. I'd be really curious to see where the 6 hour closes, above or below this trend line. Most people, a lot of people, I should say, they'll get a breakout like this and they'll go long immediately. More conservative people that want to keep accumulating. And we just covered the fact that there's a ton of people accumulating Bitcoin right now, everybody. Might wait for a revisit to the trend line, a conservative approach, seeing support and getting the bounce off of that trend line, bullish for Bitcoin. If we get this bounce, likely we will see $1 trillion market cap sooner than later if it happens. And here it is on the hourly chart. You can see, on the hourly chart, we start forming now this kind of falling channel for Bitcoin. It's a kind of a broadening channel, but pretty symmetrical, pretty even, with a breakout target from right below, right at $1 trillion market cap. It's the case for $1 trillion market cap. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bitcoin can do here at this trend line right above this Fibonacci support area. I just, for me, when I'm kind of looking at these charts and you start seeing, like, look at Bitcoin. It's just kind of in outer space, looking like it's just ready to drop. What I do is I go over here and I start looking at the zoomed out charts. And I did a video on this yesterday. Just this awesome macro Bitcoin chart. And we start seeing, okay, this is the path that Bitcoin is on. This is the trajectory that Bitcoin is on. Tamir, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you cruising by. If you're here and not a subscriber, hit that subscribe, everybody. I think we're getting so close to 100,000 subscribers, man. It's killing me. It's killing me. Can't get there. It's taking forever. Jord Man says, I like ADA, but overhyped. So when something's overhyped, even if it's something I'm very long on, which, as you know, Cardano is something I'm very long on. If something is overhyped, I will definitely be on board with calling it out as overhyped. But the problem is with Cardano, it's not overhyped. It's the most developed blockchain in crypto right now. And what they have in the pipeline is something to get hype about. And we're talking, it's 89 cents right now, $1.33 all-time high. It's like a top 5 crypto on market cap. It's so undervalued, and there's so much liquidity getting ready to come in from all different angles. It's not overhyped. It's just hyped because it should be. It's very bullish, in my opinion. And you know, I've been doing videos on Cardano since it was like in the pennies. And here we are, 89 cents, working our way back up, all-time high. But everybody, what they're building, the Cardano network is going to be a game changer in many ways. I don't feel like many people have done much due diligence on what IOHK is building, but it's going to be big, everybody. I don't know how else to say it. It's really going to be big. The Beholder says, ADA can change the world. Chris Lane, ADA hype, please do some research. ETH most developed. But I understand what you're saying. DOT probably has bigger upside. Disagree, but it's a friendly disagree. So that's the Cardano chart. Crypto is kind of teasing us a little bit. Bitcoin, just under $1 trillion market cap. Cardano, just under $1. Ethereum, just under 2,000. Litecoin, almost halfway to its all-time high. And I'm sure there's other altcoins out there, everybody, that you're all watching. Man. But I promise you, when I end this live stream, we will get some moves. We will get some moves. But everybody, just remember, I mean, this chart says it all. Huge, huge whales accumulating Bitcoin above $50,000. There's really not much more data that you need. I mean, we can dissect the hourly chart here all day long. We can talk about consolidation. We can talk about dips. And, you know, look at the daily chart. I mean, there's the 50-day moving average down here around 38,000. 20-day moving average right around 43,000. And by the way, I've been shying away from talking about dips as much, but I chart them all the time for me personally, so I should talk about them. But if this rising wedge fails for Bitcoin, and let me just go to a 6-hour, maybe better illustrated. If this fails, right, I know we're talking a lot about the bullish case that this apex will hold, and we're going to just see another higher low, whether it be where Bitcoin is right now, or maybe it comes down a little bit to that Fibonacci support, and then we explode to $1 trillion market cap, to our $57,000 target. But I haven't talked much about, well, what if this fails, which is truly a possibility. The thing is that there are whales waiting for it to fail. So I don't know how long a dip will even happen. I don't know how long a dip will last for. But if it fails, I kind of have my eye on really what a target would be. What a target would be for Bitcoin coming out of this. And also, going back to the daily, how confluent that is with moving averages. So if we're looking at this chart, The target out of that rising wedge, if it fails at this point, would probably be right around $45,000. The 20-day moving average, which I think is a friendly support area for a big Bitcoin dip. I think there's a lot to be said for Bitcoin if there is that dip environment. And I'm not saying I think there's going to be, everybody. I really don't. But if there is, which we should all anticipate, this isn't financial advice, but if you want to buy some cheap Bitcoin, that would probably be a good area to accumulate. In terms of price range, from where Bitcoin is right now, $45,000 target, it's only a 12% dip. I mean, this is like ridiculous. That's nothing. And then by that time, it could trickle down there, right? It's not like it would happen all at once, although it could. And then by that time, the 20-day moving average pulled back up a little bit on this daily chart for a support area for Bitcoin. What will a wick look like in an environment like that if Bitcoin does that? I don't know. But I imagine it would be Bitcoin getting bought up, scooped up pretty crazy, just like it's been in a lot of these just quick dip environments. I mean, here's one right here. Even though Bitcoin is going to get pushed down a little bit after, you can just see people are waiting for these types of things. Here's another one, daily chart, boom. So, I mean, here's one, a daily candle. Here's one right here. This was 3 days ago. So I don't even know if we're going to even get a 12% dip, but that's what I'd be anticipating for more of a drastic downside as opposed to just simply testing this apex, testing this support area Fibonacci support area down to 48,800. So anyway, that's what I'm watching for Bitcoin. I think I'm just babbling now. Everybody's talking about Cardano in the chats. That's great. Anyway, everybody, I thought this was going to be like a 10-minute live stream, but it's like a 30-minute live stream. Coinbase servers always lagging. I guess they aren't making enough. I don't know what is up with Coinbase. It absolutely baffles my mind. It absolutely baffles my mind. Somebody wants me to check out the LTC BTC ratio. Let me go see. So let me go to the weekly because it's just too. So I've had this yellow line charted forever, and I don't know. I don't know if Litecoin's gonna make it down that low. I on the macro, I might have been off by, I mean, come on, cut me a break, like 12%. But going into the Bitcoin halving, going after Litecoin halving, we had concerns on this channel about the LTC BTC pair. They came to fruition, but I'm telling you, I think Litecoin's starting to make a turn for it. If you've just been holding and accumulating Litecoin, I've got some friends, maybe that are even in this live stream that have been, and 100% rooting for this turnaround that is happening on the LTC BTC pair. We're going to start seeing higher highs and higher lows. I don't know if crypto has another big dip, it could kind of come down one more time, but Litecoin's going to take off soon. If you go to Litecoin chart, it has a lot of catching up still to do. It's been kind of an underperformer for many until recently, finally. Just now starting to put in kind of these higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart. And that's a big deal for Litecoin. Even if you chart the swing high 2017 to the bear market low, you can just see Litecoin has not even broken the 786 to 618 on this weekly chart. And interesting actually to note that and chart that the 618 line is immediate resistance on a macro level for Litecoin. If you see Litecoin, and this is kind of the environment, if you see Litecoin start breaking through this, Litecoin's going to explode. It'll be through all-time high very quickly on this macro chart. What's interesting is that last swing high, and I charted this at the beginning, to this swing low in March, confluent with that, we can call it Litecoin's own little bull market doors. This green Fibonacci area up here. But confluent with that resistance is kind of this 1618 resistance as well on this Fibonacci, which is that last or 2019 summer swing high to swing low. So Litecoin's in a really like interesting area. If it breaks this resistance, Litecoin's going to explode. So all-time high soon for Litecoin, everybody. And then you're going to see that Litecoin Bitcoin pair start. We're going to start seeing some higher highs and higher lows on that chart. So if you're out there and you hold some Litecoin, I'm rooting for you. I really am. But let's see what happens with Bitcoin. You know, if something nice happens, drastic happens overnight, obviously I'll do a video a little earlier tomorrow. But right now, this is what we're working with. Nice hourly bounce right at this trend line. 55 or yeah, I mean, we can call it $57,000. That next leg up in play for Bitcoin would be Bitcoin breaking the $1 trillion mark. So let's see what happens, everybody. I appreciate you cruising by. If you're here, you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe. Help me get to 100,000 subscribers. Look at me begging for 100,000 subscribers. Hit that like button. I need to go relax. Just been working nonstop all day. Tired. Everybody, let's see what Bitcoin does. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night. God bless.